special guest for you guys tonight. He's getting ready. Everybody, be sure to hit the like button. I don't know. I'm supposed to say that now. Some kind of YouTube mumbo jumbo. What's everybody up to tonight? It's been rainy. I don't know. I guess we're getting hit by something out here, but Sunset, I told you, I just had to find you. Let's turn these messages on. Get that little chat going. What's up, John? Miss Thang. Joey Fetters from Breaking Fetters. What's up, Colin? Brian Snap Patrick, I saw you in here. Joey Tats, as always. Wesley Mitchell, my dude. So I just got off the phone with the guys. First time I got to talk to them. Super dope. Super cool. I think you guys will like him a lot. I already do for sure. Johnny Cab, what's up? Big Rob, my dude. We might be talking about some smaller clubs. I have everything ready. I'm going to be making that video tonight on the Gypsy Jokers, and then I'm going to put it out tomorrow. Hopefully. I'll get to the editing part of it tonight for sure. I'll have the footage shot for sure tonight. And that'll be dope. Polite Scumbags, salute. Simon says, what's up? I also, let me look. What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Man, just another day. I know you
sure.
had a hard day at work. Had to get cleaned up.
Yeah, nothing like a 14-hour day on Friday.
As long as you don't have to work on Saturday, it's all good.
No, I'm off this weekend, man.
So introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, man. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Fred out of Stockton. I was in a support club for a long time, and then moved on to a bigger club, and just kind of here talking to Rick about what happened. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. First time I've done this.
It's okay. It's a weird feeling just sitting here talking, but at least it's almost like FaceTime. And
for sure.
If you block out the fact that people are watching, it's easy.
Right. Nice. All right.
So let's talk about the support club.
Let's do it.
So you prospected in, and you were in your 20s?
Yep, I was 22.
22. How'd that go?
It wasn't bad. Like I said, my old man was in the club. I mean, I got rode by some of the older dudes because of that, and like it kind of came back to haunt a few of them later as I grew up in the club, and I got my get backs as I got older. But that's another story. But it's a good one. But yeah, it was cool, man. Like it was fun. Sorry, I'm just like all over the place. Let me calm down a sec. Sorry, man.
It's okay. So the support clubs, obviously they support, the bigger clubs that are in their area, the dominants, right?
For sure.
And your club, which dominant were they supporting
80.
when you joined?
81.
Right.
For sure. Yeah.
And so growing up, that's all you ever wanted to be.
Oh, that was it, man. Like I said, my dad was in the club since I was like 15, bro. So it was like, that's all I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, everything was about them, man. And rightfully so. I mean, they earned it, dude. I mean, you can't take that from them either way. You know what I mean? No matter how you feel about it.
And that's the thing. That's the thing about all the dominant clubs is you can't take nothing away from any of them. Like they've put in what they've put in to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was a trip. It's just, it's kind of, it gets to a young man, when you're in a club and you're feeling some type of way about your club, and it can just get kind of squashed down, like, you're supposed to be all about your brothers. And it's like if somebody calls and says, hey, this dude did this or whatever, and you end up beating up your brother over that, like, you got to kind of really think about your club. You know what I mean? Honestly.
Right. Right.
Right.
And not just that. So the support clubs, they put in work all the time for the dominant clubs.
Absolutely.
But then sometimes, something will happen where you need their help. And sometimes they're like, hey, man, it's not my problem.
For sure.
And
Yep,
that can leave
that does happen.
yeah, that can leave a nasty taste in some people's mouths where they're like, hey, like,
right.
I'm
And
willing to go all the way for you.
Right, for sure. And I know even when we were going through it, we were told like, well, that's just kind of like in your area. I know it's not in everybody's area, bro. It just depends on who you're around. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
in the time that I was young in my 20s, like most of the bikers, it was kind of like the dirty old, crankster bikers at that time. And it was like right in the middle of the merge when all the youngsters really started coming in and looking pretty and not being that greasy old smelly biker, man. Is where that was the time frame I was in.
Right. This is
You
when you
know,
start seeing white tennis shoes on motorcycles. And
absolutely. Yeah. Right before Sons of Anarchy was doing it.
hey, they do look good though. I can't lie.
Right. I know.
Look,
Hey,
we got
funny story.
Pee Wee on the
But,
wall over here. He's wearing Jordans in his calendar photo for the
right.
for the red and
I
white
seen that.
calendar.
I seen that behind you. It's hard not to miss that big old dude back there. Yeah, I know. Yeah, funny story. Sons of Anarchy. When I had got arrested one time, and I had a club shirt on. So obviously, when they arrest you, bro, they take it from you. So they took it from me, and I had a long sleeve underneath. And the wife had bought me a Sons of Anarchy long sleeve, but I would always cover it and just use it for a long sleeve. So when they took it, bro, that's what I had on, and I had to like tell to the dude, "Time out, bro. Like we gotta switch this shirt inside out real quick, bro. I'm not walking through the jail with this on, man."
Oh man.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
So the club that you rode for actually put in a little bit themselves and ended up getting to where the 1% patch.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't even in the club at the time. I think I was, I don't know, probably 18 to 20 at that time. And they were at a bar. A couple guys were at a bar, and they ended up getting jumped by a sorority or whatever, fraternity, whatever you call the guy one. And they got jumped pretty good, bro. And one of them ended up sticking one of them. And this is 20 years ago, probably. One of them ended up sticking one of them, and they got arrested over that. And I wasn't even in the club. My dad just asked me because he was. So we all put our houses up. There was a bunch of houses that got put up so these guys could get out while they were fighting the trial. And because of that, yeah, we were told that we were allowed to wear it, and that was before just everybody wore it. It was like now everybody wears it. So it just, I mean, at that time, it felt like it meant a little more than it does now, kind of, buy rings and everything nowadays.
Well, so eventually things kind of soured between you and the dominant, and then another dominant came along.
Right.
And
Well, we
one
were,
of them actually had something really prolific to say about that.
yeah, one of them, what floored me, like I was saying, when I was, I had to be like just about 30-ish. When I showed up, I had my cut on, which had a diamond on it. And I was told like, hey, why do you wear that? And I was like, well, we're a three-piece patch, and it was like, yeah, but if you're told what to do by another club, can you really call yourself that? And that floored me, man. And in the back of your mind, if you're a support club, no matter who you support, I think you always kind of feel that a little bit. And if for the guys that don't, my hat's off to you. I did. And I know the group that was around me did. And it was, man, it was something that made you really think like, dang, all those feelings that I was having were right, kind of. And yeah, it kind
It's
of wakes you up a little bit.
it's I mean that's as real as it gets. When you told me that they said that, it just clicked right away. I was like, it was an aha moment.
Right, for sure. For me too at the time. It really was, man. And it was like,
So
man, as a support club too, bro, I feel like yeah, you have enemies, but at the same time, like you don't really have enemies, like because it's like it's more of the bigger club has the enemies, you know. So I found that yeah, you could bicker amongst clubs in the area, or if somebody does somebody wrong in your family, like you go take care of it as a club. I totally understand that, and I'm not taking nothing away from that. But I also felt like we used to feed off of each other's fuck ups a lot. And when somebody would mess up, you would want to flex that so you could feel like a one percenter. So I felt like we would check our own a lot. And that was something that, yeah, the bigger club did do, but it wasn't something that was like out there like it was in the support club, bro. It was like, it was a real eye opener.
that's coming from the prison world. That was a big thing, and I'm proud to say that most of my bros, they don't act like that, right?
Right.
They're not just chicken hawking, is what we call it.
Right.
But
Gotcha.
in other systems, like in California, I've heard of it, where they just chicken hawk on their own people so much, where it's like people are just waiting to be able to beat up their own people, and
Right. No. Yeah.
that just doesn't sound like a brotherhood. I mean, it is, but
Right.
it becomes something different.
No, for sure. I agree. It was, and at the time, it's like you feel like, oh, it's cool, but it's like, it's not really cool when you're that guy. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
then you get to thinking like, well, that guy told you to do that and you did that to me. I mean, that's honestly, that's how you get all the faulty people in the world that get that sour taste in their mouth and do stuff that they shouldn't. You know what I mean?
right. So so with the club that you were with, quite a few of you split off and said that you wanted to support a different dominant club than the ones that you
Yeah.
guys had been backing over
Yeah, we did.
certain situations that had happened, obviously.
Yeah. No, we did. It was there was a territory battle going on at one time, and we were kind of involved in it. And one of our guys got their colors took, and when we asked for help, we were kind of left high and dry, and that kind of hurt as a club for sure. Kind of, like, man, that's messed up. You know what I mean? We're here doing this for you guys, and then it's like we're on our own,
Right.
right? Yeah,
So
and
I mean, I'm trying not to really talk too much about the clubs. I don't know how,
right,
if you want names out there or not. Uh,
right.
so
Being my first time, I'm not sure, man. Like, I don't.
right,
Yeah.
right. I mean,
I mean, but at the same time, the people that know me, they're going to know me, man. So, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter.
right. Well,
Right.
it's one of those touchy things where
Right.
what bothers one might not bother another, and vice versa.
For sure.
So when I bring people on, I just let them talk, and you know, I try not to get anybody into trouble by saying too much.
No,
But
for sure.
so you ended up joining this other dominant club,
Yeah, we did. I mean, we had to, go through the steps and everything and hang out for a long time and, make sure that they knew that we were like going to be serious about it or whatever. So, I mean, it took a minute, but yeah, no, we did. We did. It was a
and
good time. Like, honestly, like the supporters type parties to me, it's like, and I'm not slandering nobody or nothing, but it's like I seemed like we would stand around and see who could look the toughest. And honestly, when we went to the other parties, it was like more who could have the most fun, and it kind of blew our mind because it wasn't what we were used to.
less
You know,
drama,
you
more
always
party.
right. You always have a few guys in both sides that are like the wild ones, and they're fun to be around. But for the most part, it's like you can scan a room, and it's like everybody's like just seeing who could look the meanest or the toughest. And at the other, like I said, the other side, you look over and everybody's smiling, laughing, joking, not having to be that tough guy all the time, And like not having to be that tough guy all the time was was a really good feeling, honestly.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
it kind of
obviously you. So I heard somewhere that the average shelf life of somebody in a dominant club like that is like 4 or 5 years on average,
I
and
mean, I could see that. I didn't
And
even
you,
make it there before I was, everything kind of got locked up and got in a major motorcycle accident and stuff. Like, yeah, it was going on 4 years.
so let's talk about that. Uh, you're obviously you get indicted, and they add the gang enhancement to it.
Yeah, it wasn't super serious, man. Like, I mean, they added the gang enhancement and stuff, but I mean, I think they were just trying to get something on us, which they did. Because it was like seven of us. It was kind of a hokey deal, bro. We were like a mile apart too, and we got pulled over, and we all ended up on like the same case number, and it was just a big old mess trying to get through all that. And then with the accident, I ended up prolonging it like another year or so with the accident. So it was like I think they were just trying to get it over with. So we didn't get no heavy real time, but they did hit us with the charges though for sure.
Right. And then obviously, if you take a gang enhancement, then the club looks at it like you just set us up uh,
In a
to be
sense,
able
stay
to be
away
hit
from
by
us.
RICO later. You're establishing a
Yeah,
base of what they call a motorcycle gang in
right.
in the
Yeah, and
idiots, you know.
yeah, and at the time, man, like I'm gonna be honest, I was a little naive to all that, dude. Because when you're not in a bigger club like that, like you don't really worry about that, to be honest with you, man.
You
So it
know,
was like,
from the outside looking in, so all of my bros are we're security threat group. Uh,
right,
Gang enhancement or not, it doesn't even matter. It's a prison gang to begin with. So,
right,
like it looks better on your record if you have the enhancement. So,
right,
but with the
right. I get
motorcycle
it.
clubs, even if you fight it and you still get found guilty of a gang enhancement, then the club shuns you, and that's the craziest thing to me. Uh, I mean, if you took the gang enhancement deal, maybe they can have an issue with it, but
Yeah, at the time I didn't. I honestly, man, like it wasn't really like thrown out there at the time as like it. Like I've learned that it is, but as far as I know, like everybody is still out and everything, man. So nothing stuck, and none of us. We didn't say like nobody spoke on nothing. They just hit us with the charges.
right.
Yeah, like
So, and
yeah,
then you healed up and you got out, and
yeah. I actually was
thankfully,
just about healed before I went in, but it was like as soon as I could walk, because I couldn't walk for a long time, and I had to work my way to a cane. So as soon as I could walk with the cane, at like the next court date, they ended up like hitting all of us with like, nope, this is the last day you're going. So it's like as soon as I could walk, they ended up hitting us with it.
right, and then so you come out, and there is no issue with you in the club. Like they
Uh,
didn't put you out
no,
bad or any of that.
I mean, no, I
It
mean,
just
I've talked to a few of the guys and stuff. I just been hanging out at the house. I don't really ride. I mean, I have some physical issues after the accident too, though, bro. I don't have muscle in my shoulder. Like I lost muscle in my shoulder. My hips messed up. I can't. I got a bunch of metal plates in my hip, like 30 screws in my shoulder. So like my fighting days are over. I can't really fight anymore.
so
Honestly, bro. Like
what happened with the accident? Can you run that
some
down?
fucking old lady pulled in front of me, bro, and slung me over her car. There was three of us, man, and I had just changed the bearings on my bike in the back on the back wheel, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna chill just back behind you guys a little bit." And I guess she didn't see me, and friggin' she turned right in front of me, and
Mm.
out of all the spots, bro, I had to hit the back tire of the car. So like the axle, I hit like the hardest part of the car. Yeah, and apparently, I think I hung on to my handlebar on the throttle side when I hit because that arm like completely was slinkied in between my shoulder and like right here where your shoulder and your elbow meet.
Yeah.
uh, I was laying on the ground when I stopped. My shoes blew off, and a couple guys came back that were with me, and were checking on me. And I had ripped the crotch of my pants. I've known a few people that lost, some of those things down there on mirrors and stuff that went over handlebars. And he told me like, hey, the your crotch is ripped on your pants. And I was like, bro, you got to look for me. I wanted to know. So,
Is it
he had to
there?
look for me, but yeah, yeah. Is everything there? Yeah. He was
Is
like,
it
yeah,
still
everything's there,
there?
but the inside of your leg is purple. So like wherever what it did was my hip, but my leg bone jammed into my hip and cracked my hip is what it, and split the socket in half is what it was. But it's funny. I'm like laying on the ground and I'm like, hey, let's take my cut off because I don't want them to cut it, because they'll cut your cut off.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm unbuttoning my buttons on my cut. But when I look down, just my hands moving because there was no bone connecting my arm together.
Mm.
And like that short circuit feeling in your brain, if any of those guys have done that, it's kind of, it's a trip, man, when you feel that. Like that was weird.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
so
weird. We ended up getting it off, but
if you didn't hold on to the handlebar, that
I,
landing
I
would have been pretty gnarly on the other side, though, right?
yeah, it could have been. They had this pizza place had the video, man, and I kind of knew them, but I didn't watch it. But a few of my friends did, and they said I was like starfish, like going over the handlebars.
I think you should go and try and get that footage.
I know I should.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, though, bro. They probably don't have it anymore. Yeah,
so
that was crazy.
so they had to put a hospital bed basically in your house
Yeah,
because
the club actually came and built a ramp for me and everything, man. Like honestly, like I mean, at that time before, because that was like, we were still fighting the case and everything was going on, and yeah, they actually a couple of the brothers came over and built a ramp for me and stuff, and I've always made sure, even to this day, that I help the ones that I know are leading that. I make sure I still help them when they need it. Like they know they can call me and I'll help them out.
it's
But
funny because the club uh, is one of the more hated clubs by all of the other clubs out there, right? They really are.
absolutely,
But they
they
have
are
never treated me poorly over the video I did on them. They have never threatened or said, "Who do you think?" There have been people from the club that have helped me when it comes to
right,
making the video, and it's like, I mean, you get this ruckus reputation, and they're party animals because I have
right,
been in bars with these guys before. Uh, but I've never felt unsafe around them. I just felt like
right,
if you hung out with them for a week, it would be your body is going to take, a toll on your body, like 2 years off the
right,
rest of your life.
for sure. Yeah, it was like fun. One of the first parties that we had went to, we went up to just hang out with some of them, and it was like around 4th of July or something, and the kids were like throwing water balloons, and I'll never forget, like one of my kids threw a water balloon and it like just blasted into a bunch of bikes, and most of the time it's like, oh shit, I mean, we're the new guys, and I'm like, oh, here we go, so I'm like getting on my daughter, like not in a bad way, but like, come on, what are you doing, you know what I mean, making it a point that like, oh, that's not cool. And it was like everybody got on me for being a dick, and they're like, bro, those bikes ain't made of sugar, like don't worry about it, and that was like really like, I think if I was anywhere else, it might have been an ass whooping, man. I don't know.
Quite possibly, at least a
Right?
few of
No.
them that were in my mind, I would think. Yeah.
Right. I mean, we've done it, on that side of the fence over less, honestly, to you know what I mean, just to flex your power, and that this is how it is. But yeah, but then no, that was like a real eye opener. Like, uh, they are definitely down for sure. There's a few guys in there that are definitely scary dudes to be around, but at the
Oh
same
yeah.
time, like you still don't feel unsafe as a whole. Like they're definitely a solid group to be around for sure.
So I ran a bar in Azusa and called Callahan's, and a prospect got out of line from that club and
Right,
called one of our female bartenders, called her a bitch, and they all go outside. Prospect comes in, nodded the hell up, nodded up, bro, like lumped. I
right,
apologize for my actions. I'm sorry, I was out of line. Shaking everybody's
right,
hand that works there,
right,
and didn't say a
yeah,
word to us about it ever again. But I
right,
mean, that in my eyes, I was like, that's some man shit right there, man. They
right,
saw it happen. They did not like it. They didn't make a public spectacle of it. They went around the corner and beat his ass a little bit, and then came back
right.
in and kept partying.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. No, that's kind of the vibe for sure. Like I mean, you know the feeling I was talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple times though when I had to go like get in front of the big guys, when we were doing the whole deal, and like, yeah, that was being from where you come from to then where you're at. Like, if it was, when you're a support club, if you were around those guys, it would be like, oh shit. So to us, it was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? It took us a minute, it really
Well,
did.
So the support had already shifted to them, and they got caught up, and you guys, everybody, or every chapter came up with X amount to help out with legal funds, which is dope. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
if you're gonna wear a support patch and throw your support behind the club, then absolutely. I mean,
Right.
if they if they get in trouble and they're fighting something that can affect you as a support club, because what's standing in between the district attorney giving you a gang enhancement on your support club that's a 1% club still is these
Right.
guys and their lawyers fighting that stuff, so I mean, that's the way that should be. I don't think support should be pushed, but
Right.
I don't run a motorcycle club either. So
Yeah. I tell you that from what I learned, the where I went, they treated their support clubs way more like family than they did a means to a cannon fodder or like a bankroll. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, and I've
For
heard,
sure.
there's what you call them the top five, but really there's like the top four clubs, and I've
Right.
heard, well, five. I've heard good things about three of them, and I've heard terrible things about two of them when it comes to support clubs. And but I'm not out
Right.
here to put them on blast about it until
No, for sure.
stuff happens like New Mexico or whatever. But you know, uh,
Yeah.
it's
And at
it's
the
a crazy game.
right at the same time though, I gotta say, like I can't lie. The support club that I came from, like, there's a good group of dudes in that club. There really is, bro. Like, dude, why they take care of each other. Like, there's no way you can ever doubt that. You know, it's like it is a good club, bro. Like, if I know anybody and want to be a supporter, like at work or whatever, I always tell them go there for sure.
Okay, which is
Yeah.
which is awesome. Do you think that you
Yeah.
ruined? Well, I mean, you got into the accidents, probably what ruined the club life for you. Period. But do you
Right.
think that it was a mistake for you to go up to the dominant club instead of like
I
your
don't know.
your your pops has put in 20 years with the support club,
Yeah,
same
shit.
club.
Yeah, going on like 26. Yeah, and like honestly, man, like I kind of envy that. I do. Like I can't lie. I kind of envy that because it ate me alive. Like being content with that. Honestly, like it did, and and it was like just a little backstory on me too. Though it was like I worked with my dad. I had my dad's first house that he bought. You know what I mean? It was like I was doing everything he was doing at the same time. It was kind of a stretch my wings type thing too. You know what I mean? In the back of my mind.
Well,
So
it sounds like, and I'm not judging, sounds like he had
no, no, it's fine.
almost a midlife crisis and came home with two motorcycles, one for you and one for him. And it
Yeah,
was like, come on,
yeah,
let's
yeah,
do
he did.
this.
Yeah, no, he did, and he was already in. He was a full patch at that time. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but yeah, no, yeah, and like I said, since he was 15, so that's kind of like all I knew. I knew all the old school guys that were in all that Laughlin stuff, and I can remember the day that it happened. We were camping, and my dad was really cool with one of the ones that actually lost their lives, and he had got a phone call, and I mean, I'll always remember that. Like I remember exactly where we were and everything. It was just like, yeah, that was like a pretty big hit because we were like a supporter family for sure. Like, I mean, that's how I grew up.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that say that that club is headed towards where the black and white ended up and had to build back from. Do you think that's
Man, I don't know. To be honest with you, like the ones that are in this area now, the one that I know that went that way, man, they're smart about their business dudes. Honestly, man, like can't a lot of them own their own businesses and stuff. So like around here, I think that they could stay pretty clear of that from what I see. But I mean, like I said, I've been out of the whole scene, bro, for a while.
yeah.
I just
California
like
is a
me and my dad,
totally California is a different place anyway when it comes to
right?
anything. It is a dog eat dog world out there. And a
Right.
clubhouse in California could be way crazier than say a clubhouse in Oklahoma or something.
No,
But
for sure.
everybody that I've talked to from that club has been smart as a whip,
Right.
vicious, but gentlemen gangsters when they talk, and that includes you,
Right.
like There's
Right.
no trying to punk people. There's none of that. Which
Oh
is
no.
all I. If somebody comes at me sideways, it's almost a game to me now on how mad
Right.
can I make this guy, you know,
Right. For
and
sure.
hardly anybody ever does, but
Right.
nobody
You
from
know.
your club ever did.
Right. No, for sure. I think I kind of got off the question though about if I regretted it, and I
Yes,
was going somewhere with that. Yeah, bro. And we stepped off of that. Sorry about that.
that's okay.
Uh, yeah, yeah, like yeah, honestly, and no, because like if I didn't, there's like a good chance I would be running that club. Honestly, like because of all the years that I would have been there and stuff. Real good chance. I've been told that more than once, but at the same time, like I did something that a lot of people want to do but never do. You know what I mean? And like it took a lot, bro, to switch. And after growing up pro supporter your whole life, like you're pretty worried about those dudes, man. Honestly, like you're taught to fear those guys in a sense, you know.
Yeah.
So it took a lot, dude. I'm not gonna lie, it took a lot. Like we were all kind of on a short leash for a while, kind of wondering what was gonna happen, you know, because we were told what was gonna happen, so we were kind of waiting for it. And honestly, like I don't speak for everybody, but if I feel like if something would have happened before they let us learn how to be the other club and learn how to feel what it's like to be the other club, maybe it would have went a different way, man. They probably would have rattled some cages a little faster, and maybe a few of the guys would have dropped, honestly, because we were just so pro that club for so many years, man. It was a I think that was a strategic maybe mishap or whatever. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Maybe they didn't even care, but it was
Well, I can see it. I can see it happening. I talk to people that are in support clubs all the time,
right,
and whoever they back, uh, some of them are treated amazingly, and then others are treated like shit, depending on where they are and who they're supporting. And and then you'll see another dominant club show up in the area, and then it becomes a real issue where you're like, hey man,
right,
like these dudes are over here partying, having fun. My daughter can hit the bike with a water balloon, and it's not going to cost somebody from my club or me an ass whooping, you know.
right, for
And
sure.
but over here, these guys are nuts, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I was taught at a young age to never be the last patch at one of those parties. Never be the last patch at one of those parties.
can you explain that?
Yeah, well, you don't want to be the only guy that doesn't have the patch that everybody else has on. You know, as the night goes on,
Yeah,
because it's kind of like a bullseye in a sense, you know.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. And anybody who has any funky feelings towards you wants to
Yeah.
make that move. They've been drinking all night long or partying.
Right.
Uh,
For sure.
so obviously, the red and white are really into their balloons. Were you guys?
Uh,
Was balloons a
oh
big
yeah.
thing?
Oh yeah. Well,
Boy,
we partied
balloons
many
are
a nights. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. When I was in the support club, we partied many a nights with those guys with a full tank. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we had good times with that.
I've
I
heard
actually I had quit. It started making me feel a little weird, but yeah, I did.
I've heard of a dominant club that had ordered like 200 tanks for a 5 day party.
I believe it.
That's insanity.
I believe it. Yeah. No, it's a good time. It's a good time. I mean, shit. All the way till the morning. You come back in the morning and it's still in the bathtub, and you just crack it and go for it. You know, like yeah.
So, since you went and you moved to the dominant club, is there a way back to the support club if you wanted to?
Oh, no, I would think not, but man, I would never like no disrespect to any of those guys because I still think it's a solid club, but I could never do that, bro. I could never
So,
do that
so where's
just
that
because
leave
it's
you?
like, huh?
Where's that leave you? You've been around the club life your entire life.
Yeah, I'm cool, man. I'm having fun with the kids. Like I'm doing good at work. You know, my son, he's a lead man with me. We're mechanics, industry mechanics, and it's like, yeah. I mean, I'm doing good. Life is good, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep, I
You
know a
know,
few guys that got out, and they're all pretty happy. And it's like, dude, there's things I miss, like for sure riding. Obviously, you miss, and I I don't miss the the backdooring. And I'm not saying it was like real bad, but political and for spots, and it's just like calls all the time. This guy did this, and this guy did that, and it's just like, oh god, you know what I mean, bro? Like that's the thing that now that I'm away from it, it felt normal to me at the time, but now that I'm away from it, I'm like, anytime I get around anybody like that, bro, I just can't be around them. Just like, yeah, that was like probably the best thing to kind of get away from in a sense.
I mean,
I'm
and
kind of a different guy too, man. Like,
very
huh?
rarely do you see where somebody is able to just kind of fade off, and
Yeah,
that's a pretty awesome thing, and it says a lot about the club where they're not they're not making it a point to try and make your life hard.
all right.
It's just like, hey,
No,
it's all good. We'll say hello to you. We're doing what we're doing. You're doing
right.
what you're
Well, there's
doing, and there's no hate there.
no for sure, but I definitely the new relationships that we had gained over there. There's definitely quite a few that I miss though, because they're good dudes.
And you're able to still talk to people, right?
Yeah, there's a few. Some of them have retired since then because it's been so many years and stuff too. And they weren't talking to me because of that. But I'm just saying, it's like, yeah, I talk to the ones that aren't really super duper active. I do every now and then.
Well, yeah, that'd be a good way to get yourself caught back into it.
It'd be easy, bro, because I love those dudes still, though. You know what I mean? It's like it
Yeah,
wasn't really nothing towards the guys. You know what I mean? Like when everything happened and I got that gang enhancement and everything, I still care about a lot of those guys for sure.
yeah,
I mean, in both clubs, like I mean, shit. Like I said, my dad's over there. I knew most of the guys from that club since I was a teenager. There's still a lot of guys that've been in there a long time.
right.
There's a
Well,
lot of new blood too that they don't really care for me to come around or whatever, which is fine. I totally understand it, bro. I'm not driven like that. I get it. You know what I mean? I did that before. I know. Like I
so
said, I was a support club sergeant at arms for like 6 years, and we were like the mother chapter, and there was 5 chapters, so it was like, yeah, I had a little bit of a handful of a time here and there,
yeah.
but it all worked out.
So what left? I don't even want to bring up the wedding, but
Oh,
uh, so something had happened, and basically you and your dad didn't talk for a few years over.
oh yeah, no. When I switched clubs for sure, like we worked together, we would talk at work, and then that's where it lied. You know what I mean? He would come pick up my kids and stuff, grandkids or whatever, and do things with them. But yeah, no, me and him, we didn't talk, and it's kind of mind boggling to me, bro, because like I'm really close to all my kids, and it's like I got a 22-year-old, and then I got two 16-year-olds, my stepson, but they're the same age, and I've raised him since he was small. I mean, he has his dad. His dad's a cool dude too. We talk, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
we're a good family, and I could never, like, I don't know, bro. Honestly, like, my son could do whatever, bro, and it's like I'm not gonna freaking stop talking to my son. You know what I mean, bro? Like, I don't. That was mind boggling to me. So that gave me a little bit more of a fuck it then type attitude. But me and my dad are pretty close now, and it's like, is it because I'm out of the club? Probably, but at the same time, we're pretty close now, and I can accept that.
right.
Probably
So
closer now than we were when we were in the club, honestly. Because it was like he would hang with the older dudes, I would hang with the younger guys. We would like, yeah, we were together, but it was like he did his thing, I did mine type
right,
situation.
right.
Right.
Well, at the end of the
But
day, it was a father's dream for what he wanted for his son, and then you were your own man, and you went and did your own
yeah,
thing, and it caused a rift. So with that support club, did they all switch their support for the other club, or
oh no, God no,
no?
God no, 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 no. It was more. It
So
was more the other way than not. It was more, fuck off than not. Honestly.
so the ones that wanted to switch the report or the support, how did that work? How do you have were you guys just backdoor supporting, like going over and hanging out with them?
Yeah, but it wasn't for a long time. It was
Right.
like when we did that, it wasn't a long time before because I mean, it's not. you don't want to be doing that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It was like once you're done type shit. So it was like, yeah, it wasn't long. It was for a little bit, and then we made the decision, and then and then that's when we just totally went and did that.
Which is when your dad, who
Yeah, well,
is big
when I
time in
laid it
this
down,
sport club.
yes, absolutely. When I laid it down, that's when we kind of quit talking. You know what I mean? And like
Because
one of the hardest things ever to see in a club, honestly, was my dad riding away after like we're looking at each other and he's like, "You sure this is what you want to do?" You know what I mean? And it's like, "Yeah, man, this is what I'm doing." And it wasn't in a bad way. I mean, it's your dad. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a tough guy thing. It was more like, "Yeah, this is what I want to do."
right.
But watching him get on his bike, bro, and ride away with the patch on that I just laid down after 8 years was probably one of the hardest things to see, like my whole biker career, probably.
So it gets into one of those situations like New Mexico where you have a club and they go to a wedding, say, and
But
at that wedding they take a picture with somebody from a different club and somebody from a different dominant club, right? A
oh, bro,
rival.
that was a mess when
Right.
when that
So
happened.
that's
Yes,
what that
when
would
that
be
happened,
for your dad.
they have like constant like internet social media like scouters, and we were just constantly getting like texts from people like, "Hey man, sorry, I gotta delete you. Hey man, like sorry, can't be friends no more." You know what I mean? It was just like, because in our area, bro, like it was unheard of. Like it was unheard of to be to see that club around here, kind of,
Right.
and
It was.
yeah, and so it was just like, yeah, like our friends and everything were dropping like flies over that. Like it was crazy. Like so many people just wouldn't talk to you. Wouldn't. It was pretty rough, bro. We didn't get peace signs. We got a half a peace sign pretty much everywhere we went. But at the same time, that was kind of the fun part about it too, though.
Right. But
Right.
had your dad been seen running around town with you and all this, that could have caused an issue for his
Oh,
entire club.
absolutely. So at the same time, I wasn't mad at him for it, man. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like and I made that decision. He didn't. You know what I mean? That was on
Yeah.
me. So it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I said like I would never do that to my kids, and I wouldn't. But at the same time, like I couldn't be mad at him for it, though.
Yeah, you almost have to understand the politics behind what he did because it's not just
Absolutely.
him. It's not just him that will
No.
get the hate. It's anybody wearing the
Right.
patch,
Right.
and that could
Absolutely.
cause. I bet I can almost imagine the talks your dad probably had to have with that other club
Oh,
uh,
yeah,
over this.
I'm sure. I'm sure he doesn't really tell me, but I already know. I know the game. You know what I mean? Like I was over there. I was the one calling people for those calls. Like that was my job when I was in the support club. So I know what calls he was going to be getting.
So besides the paying dues and stuff like that, like on the support club, did you guys obviously probably had your own runs and your own parties?
Oh yeah, on their calendar though,
I see.
like the coalition's calendar. Like you all get together and you guys you pick your dates for your runs. You know what I mean? That's nothing illegal or nothing. That's like your raffle runs and
Right.
your poker runs and yeah, your crab feeds and stuff like that. Like you get together in the beginning, like the end of the year, and you set it up for all of next year, pretty much.
Okay. And then you guys obviously probably attend other clubs events too, the ones at
Yeah,
least that you like.
pretty much what everybody does is you take $20 and you just pass it back and forth all year to each other. You give this club $20, they give that club $20, each person. You know what I mean? So
It's actually
yeah,
a
all
good
the
way to
clubs,
keep each other floating for these events
right,
and not
right,
spend
and
a whole bunch of money between. That's brilliant, actually.
no, for sure. And a lot of the clubs are always looking at ways to bring in outside money, because you can always believe that those clubs are going to be there. So it's like everybody's always trying to get outside money. It's like because you go to the big clubs runs and it's like, holy shit, there's this many civilians that go to biker clubs or biker runs, and then it's like the local bike clubs, you don't get as many civilians as you do at the bigger clubs, obviously.
Yeah. Have you ever seen where maybe call it three smaller support clubs? Not they don't have to be small, but 50, 70, 100 guys where they
Right.
just decided they were going to get together. and start their own much bigger club. Like
No,
I've never
honest.
heard of anything like that.
No, me neither. Not of around here. I mean, I've heard of people switching, you know, but there's still other people in a club or whatever. But no, not really. Just banding up and like changing clubs, you know. Not around here anyway.
Now, what do you feel about clubs patching over and becoming a part,
Of like,
patching
I mean,
patching in?
if it's like support club to support club, I don't really see the point. But if you're moving up, I totally understand that, because that was always kind of like what it was. It was like you go join the support club, bro. You learn how to function, and then you try to take that step up. You know, so it was always kind of like that.
Right. But there are clubs that the entire club decides that they're usually when somebody's trying to open up in a different state, right? Where they say,
Right,
okay, we got this club, we've been eyeing them. You know, they've been riding for us for however long. We're gonna
right,
prospect them as nomads for this state, and the whole club is basically going to become prospects for this dominant club.
right.
And that's how clubs lose their history, right?
I can see that. Yeah, no, I can see that. I mean, like the clubs that are around this area, the bigger ones that have been around a long time, like they're pretty solid. So I've seen some of the smaller ones do that, but I haven't seen any of the big ones as a whole in this area do that. Like this area's got a pretty good history of biker clubs out here.
So, have you had any
Support wise,
dealings?
support wise.
Have you had any dealings with other clubs uh, and just walked away like, man, those are pretty impressive dudes that I was just talking to? Or is it always
uh,
just this? I'm this and they're that, and that's all there is to it.
no, kind of. I mean, we met a few warlocks because they kind of, if they come out, that's, those dudes were pretty cool. I mean, it was, they're just from the different part of the United States, so it was just cool to see their style and everything. I mean, I've been over there. I've been to North Carolina and all that, but it was just to see their style and everything. It was pretty neat. The Florida area, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's I'm down here in the Tampa area now,
Oh, nice.
and those are the patches that I see. I see warlocks and outlaws, and I mean, there's other clubs that are 1% clubs
Right,
that are in this area too. I think the Mongols are here now. I've hung out with a couple of smaller, quote, smaller clubs,
right.
and those dudes were wild. It was a fun time hanging out with them.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
if you're a guy like me, I'm not looking to be in a club
right.
that's going to end up on a Rico, but I would just look for a club to go on runs with, have barbecues with, shoot, pull, whatever, ride with.
Right.
That would be more like along the lines of your dad's club, right?
Not so much.
No?
Honestly, no, not so much. I mean, they carry themselves well. Like it's not going to be just a total cakewalk. They are a support club, and I get it, but no, they're not. They're a little rougher than that. Like
Okay.
that would be more of like a RC you'd want to join, like a
Of
rally
course.
club or a riding club, or you know what I mean. Not so much an MC, honestly.
Okay.
Like not in this area, anyways. That any of them that I know.
Perfect. Perfect. Because yeah, like I mean, I talked to dudes who are obviously with the function and been there, done that, but
Right.
like I've already got my patch and
Right.
I'm 43.
I mean,
I'm not looking to go to prison over hanging
right.
out with a bunch of dudes, but I am looking for a bunch of dudes I can go hang out with and have a good time.
For sure. That's kind of like, I think that's why my old man was like the most disappointed, because he kind of, that was one thing he always told me, like moving up, you're going to end up, you're going to end up in prison. And I think maybe that's what kept him, because I've seen my old man get down plenty of times, bro. Like, I mean, we've been in fights together. I mean, it's not like we didn't fight as a support club. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? It's like they do, bro. And like their club got some down dudes in there that's done a lot of time, honestly. But it's like you say, like whenever you get that call from Big Brother, you'll let somebody come into your clubhouse and sock up one of your members, and you just sit there and watch. Like that's kind of a hard thing to swallow as a 1% club, you know.
Yeah, see, I'm notorious for taking up for my friends, and
Right.
like I have to continually tell myself, you're getting older. Your fists break every time you fight. Don't do it
Right.
anymore. Like
For
if you're
sure.
not in shape, like just stop. But just the monster in me is like just fire on people sometimes, and I
Right.
can't help it. And I don't think I
No,
can sit there and watch Rudy Poo behaviors happen in front of me and just quietly be like,
no, for sure.
you know.
I
But you
know.
have to, or else you get everybody else fucked off. It's a bad scene.
For sure. No, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know what? And I was in it, dude. So I can't really, at the time, I can't really say anything, you know,
Yeah,
like I was there, you know, I was there. And it's a hard thing to swallow too, though.
but it is the life.
It's
It's
a life. Absolutely.
understanding.
It's a life.
It's
Yeah.
understanding
No,
the
it's a
rules.
life. It's a life. But then, once you get shown like a different part of it, and it doesn't always have to be like that, it's kind of a humbling feeling, dude, to be honest with you. And it's
Yeah,
like there's still plenty of violence that can happen by doing that, but I'm just saying like the day-to-day life is a lot different.
yeah. So another thing, people look at the guys that are in these dominant clubs, and they think that they don't work, that they just make their money, stealing bikes and selling dope.
Oh God, no, these dudes got like really good jobs. Like I've always had a good job, man. I've always been in the maintenance field and made decent money. You know, I mean, being a biker is expensive, man. You got dues, you got runs. I mean, half of what I'm able to afford now is kind of because I'm not in a club, bro. To be honest with you, like I was able to switch up my house and stuff, and it was because I wasn't shelling $300-400 a weekend out almost every weekend. It was like, and it
Yeah,
took a minute to realize it, but then it was like, wow, yeah, that was a lot of money.
yeah, yeah. That's the biggest myth that I'm gonna start trying to squash now. Is people just they look at these guys like they're, I don't know, the mafia or something, where
Yeah,
they're out running numbers, and it's like, come
bro.
on, man. Like, they're dudes
I
with
mean, it was a
jobs
long
still.
time.
They own
It was a long
businesses and
time
shit.
ago. Yeah, for sure. It was a long time ago. So I'll just say it. I mean, yeah, like as with the support club, like we used to sell weed or whatever. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
everybody did at that time. But like, I've never sold. Like, honestly, like I don't care that it's not gangster to me to be around a bunch of tweakers. I've never sold meth in a motorcycle club. You know what I mean? Like any of the clubs I was in, they never asked you to sell meth. Nobody wanted you to sell meth. Like nobody wants a bunch of tweakers around them. You
yeah.
know what I mean? It's frowned upon more than anything.
I'll tell you, growing up in Las Vegas, I've tried just about everything. Like, I don't think I've ever
Right.
done crack or acid. Those are about the two things I haven't tried in my life. But I've
Right.
never been so out of control. Like, I'm literally the type of dude that can do something and never do it again. Or, you
Right.
know, I
No, for
mean,
sure. I haven't tried a lot of drugs. Like they didn't push them on me. Honestly, I mean, I smoked weed, did balloons, and you know, take a pain pill here and there. But like, no, I've never done coke. I've never done meth. I mean, pain pills are just as bad. But I'm just saying, I've never done none of that. Shrooms, acid, like they don't push it on you. I mean,
yeah,
somebody's got to be put together and got their head on right. In the group.
right.
And honestly, like some of the bigger clubs like guys with no records because then you don't got to be worried about getting. I was told that a long time ago. The guys with no records are what we want with jobs. We don't want guys with records that don't work. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be
Yeah.
drama. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
get your
a,
record after you get in the club.
I mean,
Honestly, it's like inevitable almost.
a lot of people, they get addicted to the stardom of it, though. That patch, you start walking into a club and you're, into a party or something like that. They're like, oh,
All right,
there's the all stars right there, right? And that's any
for sure.
big club.
Yep. No, it was definitely a life change when we would go down to the dominant area that the club was from. It was like, oh my God, like, you felt like the way those guys get treated up here down there. It was like it was a good feeling to go down there. That was kind of like the running joke whenever you get tired of being like shunned and nobody likes you, go down there and hang out for a couple of weeks or whatever, and you'll come back a brand new person.
Hell yeah.
because it's just so much different, atmosphere.
All right, brother. I've taken up about an hour of your life
No,
already.
it's all good, brother. I know. I got plenty more stories, bro. I just wasn't sure how far to go into them. We could, talk one on one, and you
Yeah,
could coach me on how to go about that or whatnot, man.
absolutely.
Right.
I'll call you after I end this, and we'll talk some more. And
All
I
right,
like
cool.
having you on, bro. I like
All right, man.
talking
I
to you.
appreciate it. All right, man. I appreciate that.
All right,
All right,
brother.
man. All right, all you guys have a good night. Stay safe.
Thank you guys all for coming to Vegas Profile Stories. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. I'll see you next time.